Alright, football fans, the UEFA Champions League is always full of surprises, and 2025 is shaping up to be another epic year. So today we're going to break down the teams, the form, the stars, and everything in between to try to predict who will lift the coveted trophy in Istanbul next year. Let's get into the 2025 UCL predictions and analysis. The heavyweights, can the big names deliver? When we talk about UCL winners, the usual suspects come to mind. Teams with a storied history, incredible squads, and a winning mentality. Let's start by talking about the obvious heavyweights. Football. With Erling Haaland leading the line, City's attack is a machine that doesn't seem to stop. The man is a goal-scoring monster, and with the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, Jack Grealish, and Phil Foden pulling the strings, City is a nightmare for any defense. The question is, can they keep their focus in those clutch moments and avoid another heartbreaking exit like the one against Real Madrid in 2022? Prediction: Man City will be one of the favorites, but consistency in knockout stages could still be their challenge. Expect them in the semis or final. 2. Real Madrid. Let's talk about Real Madrid, the kings of the UCL. You can never count them out, especially when you consider their historical dominance in Europe. They've won 14 UCL titles. That's more than any other club, even without Karim Benzema, who left in 2023. Madrid has Vinícius Jr, Rodrigo, and a rejuvenated Eder Militao holding it down in defense. And don't forget the leadership of Luka Modric and Toni Kroos, who are still pulling the strings in midfield. Plus, we know that Real Madrid thrives in those clutch moments, and their mental fortitude is second to none. If Kylian Mbappé finally makes his move to Madrid, which seems likely, that could push them to another level. With Thibaut Courtois between the sticks, they're going to be tough to break down. Prediction? Real Madrid is always dangerous. You can expect them to make another deep run, but whether they can take it all the way depends on their attacking consistency. Finalists or semi-finalist material. 3. Bayern Munich. Kane, their new striker, could be the key to finally helping Bayern break through in Europe again. Kane's ability to score in any situation is a game changer, and if he gets the service he needs from players like Thomas Muller and Kingsley Coman, Bayern is going to be a huge threat. Prediction: Bayern's always a 4. Arsenal. We've got to talk about Arsenal, right? Mikel Arteta's side has transformed over the past couple of seasons. With a mixture of youth and experience, they've become a team that's hard to ignore in the Premier League and Europe. Bukayo Saka, Martin Odegaard, and Gabriel Jesus are just the start of what's shaping up to be a dynamic attacking force. But the real difference maker here could be their defensive solidity. William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes have formed a rock-solid partnership at the back, and if Aaron Ramsdale stays on form in goal, Arsenal could have the balance they need to compete with Europe's elite. If they can handle the pressure and keep up their momentum, in Europe, Arsenal could finally make a deep UCL run. They've got the tools, now it's about execution in the big moments. Prediction: Arsenal is a wild card, but with Arteta's tactical brilliance, expect them to reach the quarterfinals or even push for a semi-final spot. 5. Paris Saint-Germain. Let's talk about PSG because we can't ignore them. With Lionel Messi gone and Kylian Mbappé still leading the charge, PSG has an even clearer path to dominate Europe. They've brought in Luis Enrique to replace Christophe Galtier as manager, and if Mbappé stays, they're in for a huge season. They've also brought in fresh talent like Ousmane Dembélé and Goncalo Ramos, making their attack even more dynamic. The big question remains, can PSG finally get their act together when it matters most? They've been knocked out in the round of 16 or quarterfinals for years, but with a more balanced squad, 2025 could be the year they break the curse. Prediction: if they can sort out their defensive issues and work as a unit, PSG is definitely one to watch, likely quarterfinals or semis, with the potential for a finals appearance. The dark horses. Who could surprise us? 6. May have struggled in recent seasons, but they're still a force to be reckoned with. With the return of Paul Pogba and a forward line led by Dusan Vlahovic and the veteran Angel Di Maria, they have the firepower to compete. Plus, with Massimiliano Allegri at the helm, they know how to grind out results in tight situations. Their ability to surprise some bigger clubs in knockout rounds could be a final verdict. Who's winning the 2025 UCL? So, who's going to win the UEFA Champions League in 2025? Based on everything we've seen, the final battle will likely come down to a few heavyweights. Manchester City looks set to be the most well-rounded team heading into the season, with a hungry Erling Haaland and a squad that has gelled perfectly under Pep Guardiola. Real Madrid is never out of the picture, and they'll always be dangerous in those final stages. But if Paris Saint-Germain can finally put everything together, especially with Mbappé leading the charge, we could see them lifting their first ever Champions League trophy. While Arsenal and Bayern Munich are serious contenders, City's depth and Madrid's experience make them the favorites. Final prediction: Manchester City to win the 2025 UCL, Real Madrid or PSG as potential runners-up. But hey, this is football, and as we've seen time and time again, anything can happen. So who's your pick for the 2025 UEFA Champions League? Drop your predictions below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our upcoming videos. Catch you next time, football fans!